So hello, today I am going to discuss about two gigantic personalities and their contribution in Indian freedom struggle and their ideological conflict which was related to the Indian national movement. So both Mahatma Gandhi and Bose were two legendary personalities. Both of them were gigantic leaders and both of them had high ethical and moral stature. And I can very well say both of them are worthy sons of Mother India. But there was a conflict, ideological conflict between these two personalities. It often comes to debate in our mind that who has or who had more contribution to free India in 1947 15th August. I think there is a need of discussion to break this debate, to cut through this debate. So, let us first go to the last part of Bose's journey. First, start from there and then I will go to their relationship. So, I will discuss today those which parts are less known and very limitedly covered in the history books, in the journals or in the newspaper. You all know where Bose was born, where Mahatma Gandhi was born, what was their occupation, you all know that. So I am not going to discuss all these things before you today. So less known facts to be presented here or unknown facts might be for you. Okay. So first of all, I think I should start from the end. That is the INA's journey, Indian National Army's journey in Andaman and Nicobar with Japanese Army's cooperation. So, the forgotten story of Japanese ruling over Andaman. The Japanese occupation of Andaman is perhaps one of the least talked in the episodes of Second World War. Japanese forces landed in South Andaman on March 23, 1942, and in the next 3 to 4 hours gained complete control over the area. Since the time Japanese set foot on the islands, they went on rampage, they went on killing, looting, rape, and whatever they could lay their hands on. The Punjabi poet Diwan Singh was in the Andamans during the period as a member of Indian National Army of Bose. When he tried protecting the local population from the wrath of Japanese, they arrested him and he was beaten up and tortured for close to 82 days before he died on January 1944. During the same period, 44 others were also shot dead by Japanese for allegedly being the spies of Allies. Who were the Allies? Against the Axis in the Second World War, there was Allies power, means France, Britain, in which USA joined later, and there was Russia. All these were allied power, and Japan was the part of Axis power along with Germany, Italy as major power in the Axis group. So the incident referred to Homfreyganj massacre is widely considered to be the harshest atrocity incurred by Indians under the Japanese. So very few of us know about this Japanese ruling over Andamans. Okay, and there are very few facts about these things in our so-called history books. So what was Subhash Chandra Bose's reaction on this? Because he was the supreme leader of Indian National Army who demanded the help or cooperation from the Japanese soldiers. Despite the scale of atrocities carried out by Japanese, not a single record exists of intervention of the part of INA leader Subhash Chandra Bose. So, the scale of atrocities carried out by the Japanese, you have already seen that. But Subhash Chandra Bose, there is not a single record of intervention on the part of Subhash Chandra Bose on this. While some historians are of the opinion that Bose did not pay heed to the miseries of the local population, there are others who believe that he was not made aware of them due to the efforts of Japanese to stop complaints reaching his ears. Whatever was the case, Bose clearly earned disrepute among the residents of Andaman due to his lack of initiative to help them out. Okay? It is estimated that close to 2,000 Indians in the Andamans died as a result of Japanese brutality, till finally it was captured by British in October 1945. Andaman in that day used by British to capture Indian revolutionaries or Indian nationalist leader to put them in cellular jail. And other than that, when Netaji set his soil on this South Andaman along with the Japanese army, it is known to us that Japanese gifted these two islands, the two islands of Andamans, and Netaji renamed them as Sahid and Swaraj, and hoisted Indian flags on the Andamani flags for the first time. Okay, but very few of us know about the Japanese atrocities carried out there. Very few of us know about the brutality carried out by Japanese, where Bose didn't even intervene, or the news of these brutalities didn't reach his ear at that time. So that's the story of Japanese ruling over Andaman. Now let's come to their relation, Bose and Gandhi. While for Mahatma Gandhi, non-violence was the necessary strategy, Mahatma Gandhi was always a believer of truth and non-violence that would lead the country to the doors of freedom. So non-violence is the key. For Subhash Chandra Bose thought that independence could never be achieved without resorting to revolutionary force. So Subhash Chandra Bose was much in support of revolutionary force instead of non-violence propagated by Gandhiji. The other aspect in which Bose differed from Gandhi was in the faith he held, acquiring help from international powers for expelling the British from Indian soil. And you have just heard what happened in Andaman soil because of this help from international powers. How Japanese atrocities took thousands of lives in Andaman soil. From the beginning of Second World War itself, Bose had reached the conclusion that supporting Britain's enemies would be the most definite way to ensure the exit of European power from India. Accordingly, he reached out the Axis powers for assistance in getting rid of British. So, first he reached Germany, and from there he went to Japan with the help of submarine provided by Hitler. Historian T.R. Sarin notes that Bose was neither interested in Nazism nor in fascism. However, he believed that support from the fascist regime would be the best opportunity for overthrowing imperial hegemony. So he believed in taking support from the fascist regime. But he was not interested in the Nazism or fascism. Sorry. So let's introduce our topic. So in 1915, soon after his return from South Africa, Gandhiji became the unquestioned leader of the freedom struggle and Indian National Congress. He transformed an unarmed, politically subjugated, dumb, illiterate mass of humanity into fearless, non-violent, politically awakened, resurgent militia. So non-violence was one of his key strategy to drive the British out from Indian soil. Okay? Verily out of dust, he made Indians into men. A time was there when Indians thought that the white people is doing good for them. White people is carrying out benefits for them. Okay? Subhash Chandra Bose, the stormy petrel of Indian Renaissance, younger to Gandhi by 28 years, who had resigned his brilliant career in the much coveted heaven-born Indian civil service with the resolute aim and determination to devote himself entirely in the fight of India's freedom. The saga of relationship between Subhash and Gandhi starts with Subhash meeting Gandhi on the very day on 16th July 1921 of his landing at Bombay. Their first meeting set the contours of the relationship over the coming quarter of a century between these two foremost leaders of India's freedom struggle. Okay? So next, Subhash Chandra Bose considered Gandhi as India's greatest man. His appreciation of the unique contribution of Gandhi was unequivocal. He recognized and admitted Gandhi as undisputable, unrivaled leader of the masses. And Subhash had all praise for Gandhi's unflinching patriotism, firmness in character, love for truth, etc. In fact, Bose bowed before Gandhi's single-hearted devotion, his relentless will, and his indefatigable labor. And to Gandhi, Bose was like a son whose self-sacrifice and suffering drive integrity and commitment to the national cause and the capacity to bind all Indians into one people were unsurpassed. So both have a sweet relationship between themselves. Both appraised each other. So that's the thing I want to discuss. Both of them were totally honest men. Okay? They were internationalist, they were humanist, they were truly secular in nature, and also anti-racial in their outlook. Okay? In whatever situation they were and whatever they were doing, their minds were always diverted towards the liberation of their motherland. And the whole life of both of these two was an epic struggle for independence of India. In fact, the lifelong tapasya we can say that both did ended with ultimate sacrifice of both their lives. Both of them sacrificed their lives for this country. Okay? So, next. But there was, in spite of all these things, there is glaring differences between those leaders. Glaring difference, like young Netaji was a firebrand nationalist who believed in the tradition of Tilak, an extremist leader of Congress, and Aurobindo, again an extremist. Gandhiji, on the contrary, was reluctant nationalist who belonged to the tradition of his mentor Gopal Krishna Gokhale and Rabindranath Tagore. Although Rabindranath Tagore has some contradiction of viewpoints with Mahatma Gandhi, but both of them were good friends, and he was the person, Rabindranath Tagore was the person who called Gandhiji as Mahatma for the first time. Bose's strong revolutionary urge for the emancipation of his motherland made him critical of many of Gandhiji's techniques. In 1927, Subhas was elected as one of the General Secretaries of Indian National Congress. A British parliamentary committee known as Simon Commission was appointed to fix up the exact status of India's constitutional development. Indian leaders had long been thinking in terms of early dominion status. What is dominion status? Dominion status means it was given to the white countries, basically ruled by the European powers like Ireland, for example. So dominion status means in that case all the governance related things will be controlled or would be controlled by the native people, and the supreme power will be in the hand of European powers. So that's not complete freedom like that. But governance related control, basic things related control would be there in the hands of native people of that country. So that status at that time was granted to countries like Ireland, countries like New Zealand, all these white countries ruled by British Empire. They were given this status, they were awarded this status, but not India. So that's why we were demanding dominion status at that time. So before that, at the age of 23, in 1920, at the age of 23, Subhas joined in the non-cooperation movement led by Gandhi. And in Bengal, under the leadership of his mentor, Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das or C.R. Das, you may say. He took prominent part in the agitation against the Prince of Wales' visit, okay? And in the protest against decision of Gandhi called off this movement in 1922 after the Chauri Chaura incident. both Bose and Nehru criticized Gandhi for this move of Gandhi, and both of them, and especially Bose, felt highly dejected after this call of non-cooperation movement after that Chauri Chaura incident, which you all have already known and all have read, I think, in your basic history books. So for Subhas, the demand, so I am talking about these Simon Commission things, and I missed this part, so that's why I added that Chauri Chaura incident and non-cooperation story. So for Subhas, the demand for dominant status appeared to be too short of his dream of full freedom. To the utter astonishment of everybody, he wrote before the commission, India shall be free. The only question is when. So the idea of Subhas was to make India free and not to get the dominion status in that time, as early as 1927, 1928. Okay. So for this bold statement, when he said that India shall be free, the only question is when. For this bold statement, he incurred displeasure of the Mahatma, who rebuked Bose in the sharpest language, such of which was never heard in public from Gandhiji. So that's the story. Next, the year 1927 brought Subhas closer to Jawaharlal Nehru at the annual session of Indian National Congress. Another man came into picture, Jawaharlal Nehru, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He was the Indian first Prime Minister, you all know that. So this meeting held at Madras. They formed the Independence of India League, and under their joint effort, resolution for complete independence was passed. Both were good friends to each other. So that's why both of them were socialist in their nature. In the next year, due to opposition of Gandhi, the resolution to reiterate the demand for complete independence could not be approved. Thus, Bose's proposal got defeated. So, Gandhi was against this demand of complete independence at that time of as early as 1927. So, in 1929, to separate Nehru from Subhas, Gandhiji nominated Jawahar as the president of Indian National Congress. The Mahatma was happy as he thought that Bose would be ineffective without the support of Jawaharlal Nehru. But Subhas had a different character. Subhas, a different stock altogether, despite opposition from both Nehru and Gandhi, declared 1929 to be the year of preparation for massive civil disobedience movement. In the subsequent events that immediately followed, the same sort of ambivalence in the relationship between these two leaders are clearly discernible. Subhas praised Gandhiji for Dandi March and Salt Satyagraha. He wrote nostalgically, the March of Dandi, an event of historical importance which will rank on the same level with Napoleon's march to Paris. He particularly admired Gandhiji's success in involving women into the freedom movement. Gandhiji's. Okay. So, all of you know that Gandhiji's movement after Dandi March and civil disobedience movements had seen lot of women's participation. So that's a good thing in that sense. And Subhas also appreciated this. Okay. So at the same time, Subhas severely criticized Gandhiji. When did he criticize? Subhas criticized Gandhiji when he participated in the second roundtable conference in London at the call of Lord or Arvind University. Okay. So Bose was much perturbed by the way Gandhiji played his cards at the Round Table Conference. Gandhiji should have spoken as failed by Subhas at the Round Table Conference with a firm voice, which Subhas thought that Gandhi had not at that time. Gandhi didn't present his opinion with a firm voice at that time, according to Subhas. So, in his treatise, The Indian Struggle, which is his book, Subhas Chandra Bose's book, written by Subhas Chandra Bose, which was published in November 1934, Subhas wrote, if the Mahatma had spoken in the language of dictator Stalin, Mussolini or Führer Hitler, John Bull would have understood and bowed his head in respect. So Subhas always had some like or some affiliation, some sense of attraction towards the dictatorship. Okay, so I'll come to that. Subhas not only condemned Gandhi's favorite charkha but gave a call to modernize India. Okay, Subhas was in favor of modernization, and that's why he criticized charkha also. And before discussing Bose versus Gandhi, let us discuss a letter. Let you show a letter which was written by Gandhi on the issue of charkha to Sharad Bose, who was brother of Subhas Chandra Bose. So he wrote, I know there is an alternative to charkha, and that is rowdyism. But I am useless at it, and what is more, I have no faith in it. That means rowdyism. And as a practical man, I know that our rowdyism is nothing compared to the rowdyism of the government. That's why he always chose the path of non-violence. That's why he knew that British government always had some modern weaponry with themselves. Okay, so that's why Gandhi never wanted to be like rowdy with the government. I have therefore burned my boats and staked my all on the charkha. I invite you and all who are traveled by the knowledge of many woes of the nation to join me in the effort. Believe me, it requires all the skill, all the discipline, all the organizing power that we can summon to its aid. So, it is Gandhi's letter written to Sharad Bose. I have already told he was the brother of Subhas. Now, let us discuss what is the ideological differences between Bose and Gandhi. Next, we will go to the next part of political history. So, Gandhiji was anti-materialistic, much spiritual person. So, he was anti-materialistic. And Bose and hostile to modern technology. Bose saw technology and mass production as an essential to survival and dignity. In that sense, Bose was much leftist than Gandhi. Okay. So, Gandhiji wanted a decentralized society and disliked the modern state, whereas Bose wanted a strong central government and saw the modern state as the only solution to Indian problems. It would not be wrong to say that Bose was much in favor of dictatorship than decentralized democracy for India. And finally, we all know that Bose didn't share Gandhi's dedication to non-violence. Okay, so he wanted something revolutionary. Okay, so next we'll come to the Tripuri session, the main session which I should mention here. So Gandhi's first choice as president for the session at Tripuri was Abul Kalam Azad, as Gandhi felt that a Muslim person at the head of the Congress could ease the communal situation of that time. Azad's candidature was in fact announced at the working committee meeting held at Bandung. So it was almost finalized that Maulana Abul Kalam Azad was going to be the president of Indian National Congress at Tripuri. So Azad didn't voiced his objections there in the working committee meeting, but he later withdrew his name. Why? Because both Subhas and Maulana Azad, both of them belonged from Calcutta, and Subhas's popularity was very high and growing daily. So he didn't want to contest against Subhas Chandra Bose because they belong to same place, Calcutta, and Subhas had more popularity in Bengal than Maulana Azad or anyone to say. Subhas became mayor of Calcutta Municipal Corporation at that before that, and Bengal National Congress chose him leader of itself after Chittaranjan Das's death. So in Bengal, Subhas was highly respected personality at that time also, even now I can say. So after Azad's withdrawal, Gandhi wrote to Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Sahib doesn't want the crown of thrones. So Gandhi wrote this to Nehru. If you want to try again, please do. If you want to try again, please do means Jawaharlal Nehru already presided INC before that. If you won't or Subhas won't listen, Pattavi seems to be the only choice. So Gandhi was not in the favor of Subhas. Okay. So because both Subhas and Nehru already became the president of Indian National Congress, at least at once. Jawaharlal Nehru had no desire to be president again, and so Sitaramaiah became reluctant contender. According to him, he was not even asked if he wanted to be a candidate. So this was the drama of Tripuri session. I will continue this discussion of Tripuri session. So Subhas' desire to be the president for a second time had the support of Rabindranath Tagore. Involvement of Rabindranath Tagore come into picture, who expressed his desire to have a modernist in this post. And in his opinion, there are only two genuine modernists in the Congress in high demand. That was Subhas Chandra Bose and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So Tagore also wrote to Gandhi to say that Subhas should be given a second term. Gandhi responded to Tagore by saying that in his personal opinion, Subhas needed to be free from presidential work if he was to rid Bengal from corruption. So that means that Gandhi was personally against Subhas' presidency in INC at that time. Okay. So that's the response he made to Rabindranath Tagore. So what was Bose's view at that time? According to Subhas, the progressive sharpening of the anti-materialist struggle in India has given birth to new ideas, ideologies, problems and programs. People are consequently veering around to the opinion that as in other free countries, in the presidential election in India should be fought based on definite problems and programs so that the contest may help the clarification of issue. Subhas felt that under these circumstances, an election contest may not be an undesirable thing. So Subhas desired to be the president of Indian National Congress. Although in this statement Subhas didn't spell out any policy or program, he did mention the prospective fight over federation. Okay. Next, the Congress Working Committee. Okay. In the joint statement, Vallabhbhai Patel and 6 other members of Working Committee countered Subhas' claims. The working committee members said that all of them shared Subhas' opposition to federation, and this opposition was part of Congress policy. They went on to state that the Congress policy and programs are not determined by its successive presidents. So before that, Subhas had beaten his contestant in presidential election because of large number of votes from Bengal, UP and all these states. Subhas had beaten his contender Pattabi Sitaramaiah, and Gandhiji mentioned or declared that Pattavi's defeat is was personally his defeat. So Subhas was going to be president at that time. The statement elaborated that the position of president was akin to that of chairman. So I already told that Subhas always wanted to have an aura that's like a dictator. Okay. So president is not chairman, and that the policies and programs of the Congress, when they are not determined by Congress itself, are determined by the working committee. So the democratic structure of working committee must be safeguarded. The office of president carried great honor because according to signatories, the president represents and symbolizes, as under a constitutional monarchy, the unity and solidarity of the nation. The statement deeply regretted that Azad had pulled out of the constitution and urged Subhas to reconsider his decision and allow Sitaramaiah to win uncontested. So, Congress Working Committee went against Subhas Chandra Bose and they demanded to allow Sitaramaiah to win uncontested, though Subhas won the election. So, on 8 February 1939, Patel had written to Rajendra Prasad, it was impossible. Patel means Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the Iron Man of India. It was impossible for us to work with Bose, and he also really desires that he should have a free hand. At the behest of Gandhi, Patel and other members of working committee bearing Jawaharlal Nehru and Sharad Bose resigned. So they were much in support of Gandhi's views because Gandhi was very popular politician at that time. Okay. Jawaharlal's reaction to the resignation of working committee members was uniquely his own and ambiguous. He couldn't himself to side with those who resigned, but neither could he see himself in agreement with Subhas. So he did not join the collective resignation but resigned on his own. He thus pleased no one, neither Gandhi nor his group nor Subhas. He may not have even pleased himself. Okay. So that's the point of Jawaharlal Nehru. Next, I will come to Pant Resolution. The showdown occurred when Govind Ballabh Pant moved a resolution which affirmed Congress' firm adherence to the fundamental policies of Gandhi and not Bose. It also expressed its confidence in the work of working committee that functioned for the last 1 year, and it requested the president to nominate the working committee in accordance with the wishes of Gandhi. So Subhas also lacked support from the left, which he claimed he represented from. So Subhas failed to secure the total support of the left also, which he claimed he represented. The largest leftist group within the Congress Socialist Party, decided to abstain. Some other leftists offered amendments to the resolution, but these failed to be carried out. The support of Gandhi naturally spoke very strongly in favor of resolution. Rajagopalachari, who had drafted the 5th resolution, C. Rajagopalachari, said there are two boats. One is an old boat piloted by Mahatma Gandhi. Another man has a new boat. Mahatma Gandhi is a tried boatman who can safely transport you. So if you go into other boat, which I know is leaky, all will go down. And river Narmada is indeed deep. The new boatman says, if you don't get into my boat, at least tie my boat to use. This is also impossible. We cannot tie a leaky boat to a good boat, exposing ourselves to the perils of going down. So whose boat is called leaky boat here? You all can understand. And good boat, that also I don't want to mention separately, but specifically. So after that, Bose did his last meeting with Mahatma when he was in India. Subhas had his last long and hearty talk with Mahatma on 20th June 1940. He had praised Gandhi to launch the struggle, taking advantage of critical position of British in the Second World War. He said that it was the most opportune time and it was impossible to think of any other situation in which India could start the struggle. So Subhas was pressing Gandhiji to launch the Quit India movement as soon as possible, and he considered that 1940 was the best time to launch the movement before he left India to Germany or to Japan or to join the hands of Axis powers. So Gandhi then replied, why do you think we cannot get better opportunities later on? I am sure we will have many such opportunities. Whether England wins or loses the war, she will be weakened by it because of the compensation, large amount of loss, monetary loss, economic loss by the British Empire. That's why Gandhi hoped that he couldn't continue, or England couldn't continue, British Empire couldn't continue holding these colonies. Okay. So she will have no strength to shoulder the responsibility of administering the country, and with slight effort on our part, she will have no alternative but to recognize India's independence. So Gandhi was in favor of waiting a little more time there. And Gandhi also thought that all the Indians were not in a mood of launching an all India movement. Quit India movement cannot be launched on an all India basis all of a sudden. That's why he started first with individual satyagraha, okay, with Jawaharlal Nehru, okay, and Gandhian people, with all the Gandhian people. He started the individual satyagraha. Then he got the rhythm with the Indians, and then he started the Quit India movement on the day of 8th or 9th August of 1942. So Gandhi was a person who can understand the psychology of masses very well. So he well knew the fact when it is better to launch a pan-India movement or when it is not. So that's why Gandhi didn't want at that time to launch the movement in 1940. Okay. Now the heroic adventure of Bose starts, which you all know almost. The whole nation aroused when Subhash Chandra Bose made his spectacular escape on 17th January 1941. It was the day fixed for his trial for sedition. Rajdroh. While under house detention at Calcutta, and finally reached Germany in order to lead struggle for the freedom from outside. Gandhi, on his part, could never endorse Subhas joining the Axis powers. Even outside India, Bose remained unshaken in his deep allegiance to Gandhiji. His praise and devotion for Gandhi were again obvious in his broadcast on Gandhi's birthday on 2nd October 1943. The service which Mahatma Gandhi has rendered to India is so unique and unparalleled that his name will be written in the letters of gold in our national history for all the time, as Subhas mentioned. During 1945 and 1946, Gandhiji came to know a lot about the exploits of Subhas and his Indian National Army. While addressing the INA prisoners, he paid unreserved tributes in hailing Bose as Netaji. He also paid unqualified tribute to INA. The greatest among its achievements was to gather under one banner men from all religions and races of India and to infuse in them the spirit of solidarity and oneness to the utter exclusion of all communal and parochial sentiments. It is an example which we should all emulate. Because Netaji, in his deep thought, was much more Gandhian, much more secularist in nature. Okay. And a pure mind, obviously. So the sweet relationship between the two, we are going to the end of our discussion as of today. Even Gandhiji, while differing from extreme methods of Subhas Chandra Bose, had utmost admiration for his unique effort for India's freedom. On one occasion, Gandhiji wrote to Subhas, regarding your love for the country and determination to achieve freedom, you are second to none. Your sincerity is transparent. Your spirit of self-sacrifice and suffering cannot be surpassed by anybody. Okay? That's how Gandhi praised Subhas Chandra Bose. On another occasion, in a conversation with American journalist on the eve of launching Quit India movement, Gandhiji defended Bose as a patriot of patriots, or he called the prince of all the patriots in India. Netaji's last broadcast on 6 July 1944 addressed to Gandhiji through Azad Hind Radio was like a brilliant report in which he described how the high esteem in which you are held by patriotic Indians outside India and by foreign friends of India's freedom was increased 100-fold when you bravely sponsored the Quit India movement in August 1942. Concluding his speech, he fervently sought the blessing of Gandhi, father of our nation, in the holy war of India's liberation. We ask you for your blessing and good wishes. That's the sweet relationship of the two, Gandhi and Bose. In a telephonic interview with Madhuri Bose, grand niece of Subhas Chandra Bose, she was noted as saying, both Netaji and Mahatma firmly believe that all the people of India, irrespective of caste, religion and gender, should be able to live together in peace and harmony. Both were deeply against communalism. Meanwhile, Sugata Bose, who is historian and grand-nephew of Subhas Chandra Bose, mentioned that many differences between Gandhi and Bose were highly exaggerated, and he notes that their relationship was marked by appreciation and a sense of admiration for each other. So, it is, I would say, an ignorance to discuss about whose contribution is more in the freedom struggle of India. It's just like an ignorance. if someone trying to spread any propaganda with their own views, let them read history, or tell them to read history, tell them to research, tell them to read journals, tell them to read history books, and then come to conclusion, then agree with their views. Before that, don't come to any conclusion, don't believe in any fake propaganda which tries to state that Subhas had more contribution in the freedom of India, or Gandhi had more contribution in the freedom of India than Bose. Don't exaggerate these things, because both of them had a good role, great role in the freedom struggle of India. And today is Independence Day, so that's why I came with this topic. So I want to conclude my session. Happy Independence Day to all of you, and this is a sweet picture for you. Okay, now I am going to end my session. Thank you for attending this session. I will come with a new video as early as possible for the next time. Okay, bye bye.